Question 1. In the context of a large commercial HVAC installation, Mr. Ramirez discovers that several key stakeholders have conflicting requirements for indoor air quality and energy consumption targets. What should Mr. Ramirez prioritize to effectively manage these stakeholder expectations? A. Enforce the original design specifications without alterations. B. Facilitate a stakeholder negotiation session to reach consensus. C. Focus solely on meeting regulatory air quality standards. D. Delay the project until all stakeholders agree independently. Answer. Correct answer. B. Effective stakeholder management requires identifying conflicting needs and facilitating collaboration to align expectations. By conducting a negotiation session, Mr. Ramirez can reconcile differences, prioritize critical requirements, and foster stakeholder buy-in, which minimizes scope creep and disputes. Simply enforcing original specs ignores evolving demands, focusing only on regulations neglects broader goals, and delaying the project risks cost overruns. Best practices recommend active engagement and consensus building to keep projects on track while balancing technical, regulatory, and client needs. Question 2. According to recent studies on HVAC project risks, what is the most effective initial step for Mr. Patel when he identifies multiple unknowns during the project initiation phase? A. Immediately allocate additional budget contingency. B. Perform a detailed risk identification and analysis workshop. C. Request design changes to simplify the system. D. Proceed with procurement to avoid schedule delays. Answer. Correct answer. C. While risk identification is important, simplifying the system design can inherently reduce unknowns and risks by eliminating complexity. This proactive approach decreases potential scope changes and cost escalations. Allocating contingency alone without understanding risks is reactive. Procurement without risk assessment risks committing to flawed specs, and workshops without design simplification may overlook root causes. The best practice is integrating risk reduction through design refinement early in the project lifecycle. Question 3. Given the circumstances where ISLI's project schedule is falling behind due to subcontractor delays, which of the following scheduling techniques should she apply to regain control without compromising quality? A. Crashing by adding more resources to critical path tasks. B. Fast tracking by overlapping sequential activities. C. Extending the project timeline. D. Reducing the scope of work. Answer. Correct answer. D. Reducing project scope is often a strategic decision to recover schedule while preserving quality and controlling costs. Crashing and fast tracking increase risk and cost, potentially compromising quality. Extending timelines delays project delivery and client satisfaction. By carefully adjusting scope, ISLI can focus resources on critical deliverables and maintain standards reflecting sound project and quality management principles. Question 4. From the perspective of quality management, Mr. Chen is commissioning a newly installed HVAC system that repeatedly fails performance tests. What should be his immediate course of action? A. Accept the results and proceed with final documentation. B. Recalibrate testing instruments and retest the system. C. Review installation procedures and rectify identified deviations. D. Replace all system components. Answer. Correct answer. C. The first step in quality assurance when performance tests fail is to audit installation practices against specifications to identify root causes. Recalibrating instruments is secondary and replacing components is premature without diagnosis. Accepting failures risks project non-compliance. Effective commissioning ensures issues are corrected through systematic review and remediation, aligning with quality control processes and standards. Question 5. Considering the evidence from HVAC load calculation principles, what key factor must Williams consider when updating cooling load estimates for a facility undergoing occupancy changes? A. Outdoor design temperature only. B. Changes in internal heat gains and occupancy schedules. C. Only equipment efficiency ratings. D. The original building envelope design. Answer. Correct answer D. When updating cooling loads, the building envelope's thermal characteristics remain a fundamental baseline influencing heat gain and loss. Occupancy and equipment changes also affect loads, but the envelope determines fundamental heat transfer dynamics. Neglecting envelope parameters can lead to or oversizing systems. Comprehensive load calculations integrate occupancy, equipment, and envelope factors to produce accurate estimates, critical for system design and energy efficiency. Question 6. In light of recent developments in HVAC project procurement, Mr. Brown must decide between single source and multiple source procurement for critical equipment. Which approach best balances cost, quality, and risk? A. Single source to leverage vendor expertise and consistency. B. Multiple source to encourage competitive pricing only. C. Single source to reduce procurement complexity at any cost. D. Multiple source to guarantee faster delivery regardless of coordination challenges. Answer. Correct answer C. While single source procurement can reduce complexity and ensure quality consistency, doing so at any cost is not advisable. Balancing cost and quality requires careful vendor evaluation, but simplifying procurement reduces coordination risks and potential delays. Multiple sourcing can increase complexity and risks related to integration and quality variance, even if it may reduce costs. Effective procurement strat assesses trade-offs aligned with project goals and risk tolerance. Question 7. Based on the information regarding HVACR project cost management, HRCon notices a persistent variance between budgeted and actual costs. What is the best practice for her to control cost overruns? A. Increase the budget to accommodate overruns. B. Implement a formal change control process and regular cost reviews. C. Ignore minor variances and focus on schedule. D. Halt procurement activities until budget stabilizes. Answer. Correct answer D. Ignoring variances risks compounding overruns, and increasing budgets without control weakens financial discipline. Halting procurement enforces cost control by preventing further commitments until the budget stabilizes. However, the most effective practice is a formal change control with frequent cost reviews to identify causes and manage scope or resource adjustments proactively, while option D can be a short-term. Sustained cost management depends on structured controls. Question 8. When evaluating the merits of integrating building management systems (BMS) into HVAC projects, Mr. Johnson must weigh which primary benefit: A. Increased initial installation cost. B. Enhanced operational efficiency and remote monitoring capabilities. C. Complexity in system programming. D. Dependency on external vendors for maintenance. Answer. Correct answer B. The primary benefit of integrating BMS is improved operational efficiency through automated control, energy savings, and remote diagnostics, which justify higher upfront costs. Complexity and vendor dependence are challenges but secondary considerations. Effective HVACR project management includes balancing these factors to optimize lifecycle value and performance, aligning with industry best practices. Question 9. From the framework of risk management is O'Neill's leading project with several unknown subsurface conditions that could affect piping installation. What risk response strategy should she apply? A. Transfer the risk to the subcontractor. B. Accept the risk and proceed. C. Mitigate the risk through preliminary site investigation and contingency planning. D. Avoid the risk by redesigning the system entirely. Answer. Correct answer C. Mitigating risk by investing in site investigation reduces uncertainty and informs accurate planning, which is preferable to transferring risks that may be costly or impractical. Accepting unknown risks can lead to severe project disruption, and redesigning the entire system may be inefficient. Risk management prioritizes mitigation strategies that balance cost and feasibility while maintaining project objectives. Question 10. While examining HVAC project scope, Mr. Garcia discovers frequent scope creep due to client-requested changes during construction. What project management approach should he implement to control this? A. Freeze the scope immediately, without client consultation. B. Establish a rigorous scope change control process involving documentation and approvals. C. Allow changes freely to maintain client satisfaction. D. Ignore minor changes to avoid conflict. Answer. Correct answer D. Ignoring minor changes without a formal process risks incremental scope creep and budget overruns. Freezing scope abruptly can damage client relationships. Allowing unrestricted changes undermines project control. The best approach is implementing a formal change control system requiring proper documentation, impact analysis, and approvals to balance client needs with project constraints, reflecting standards management principles. Question 11. Taking into account the challenges of managing subcontractor performance, is a Taylor notices repeated delays caused by a key subcontractor on an HVAC duct installation project. What is the most effective project management action she should take? A. Immediately replace the subcontractor with another. B. Schedule a performance review meeting to identify issues and develop corrective actions. C. Ignore the delays to avoid conflict. D. Extend the project schedule to accommodate subcontractor delays. Answer. Correct answer C. Ignoring delays undermines project control and often leads to compounded schedule issues and cost overruns. Immediate replacement could be costly and disruptive without understanding root causes. Extending schedules without mitigation risks client dissatisfaction. The most effective approach is to engage the subcontractor in a performance review to diagnose problems and collaboratively develop corrective measures aligning with stake and resource management best practices. Question 12. Based on the information about HVAC system commissioning, Mr. Simmons finds discrepancies between the design airflow rates and the measured values during testing. Which approach should he take to address this issue? A. Adjust the system controls to match design airflow rates. B. Redesign the duct system to meet airflow requirements. C. Investigate installation errors or blockages causing airflow issues. D. Ignore the discrepancy since minor deviations are common. Answer. Correct answer D. Ignoring discrepancies risks poor system performance and occupant discomfort. Redesigning ducts mid-project is costly and often unnecessary. Adjusting controls without diagnosing root causes may mask issues temporarily. The best practice is to investigate installation errors, blockages, or leaks that may cause airflow variation. Ensuring system integrity and compliance with design criteria a core commissioning principle. Question 13. Given the circumstances of a tight project budget, Mr. Nguyen must choose between premium HVAC equipment with high efficiency and low-cost standard equipment. What principle should guide his decision? A. Always select the lowest initial cost option to save budget. B. Choose equipment based on the lowest lifecycle cost, considering energy savings and maintenance. C. Select premium equipment regardless of budget. D. Delay the equipment purchase until more funds are available. Answer. Correct answer A. Choosing only by lowest initial cost risks higher long-term expenses due to inefficiency and maintenance. Delaying purchases risks schedule slippage. Selecting premium equipment without budget alignment may jeopardize project viability. Lifecycle cost analysis, which includes initial cost, operational, and maintenance expenses, provides a balanced decision framework. The best practice is to select equipment optimizing total ownership, supporting sustainable project management. Question 14. When considering risk management strategies for an HVAC retrofit project, is Rodriguez identifies possible regulatory changes during construction. What risk response plan should she develop? A. Transfer the risk to the supplier through contract clauses. B. Develop contingency plans that account for potential regulatory impacts. C. Assume the risk will not materialize and proceed as planned. D. Cancel the project until regulations are clarified. Answer. Correct answer B. Assuming risk will not occur is reckless and may lead to non-compliance. Transferring regulatory risk entirely may not be feasible or enforceable. Canceling projects delays benefits and revenue. Developing contingency plans allows proactive adjustments if regulations change, mitigating cost and schedule impacts. This aligns with best practices in risk response planning by preparing adaptive strategies for regulatory environments. Question 15. From a practical standpoint, HRConquer is managing project where HVAC system installation conflicts with other trades on site. What is the best approach to resolving this issue? A. Ignore the conflict and focus on his own trade. B. Reschedule HVAC work to after other trades complete. C. Coordinate closely with other trades to optimize sequencing and minimize delays. D. Request project extension due to unavoidable conflicts. Answer. Correct answer. C. Ignoring conflicts risks work inefficiency and safety issues. Rescheduling without coordination could cause idle time or delays. Project extensions are costly and last resort solutions. The best practice is inter-trade coordination and sequencing to optimize resource use, minimize conflicts, and maintain schedule integrity, exemplifying integration and communication management principles. Question 16. In light of recent developments in HVAC project quality assurance, Cheng is selecting inspection points during system installation. What is the most critical factor in choosing these inspection points? A. Inspect only final system components before commissioning. B. Focus on critical control points where failures impact overall system performance. C. Inspect randomly to ensure broad coverage. D. Delegate inspection to subcontractors without supervision. Answer. Question 17. The fundamental question is how Mr. Evans should handle scope changes requested mid-project by the client that impact the HVAC system design and cost. What is the most appropriate project management response? A. Approve all client changes immediately to maintain satisfaction. B. Evaluate the impact of changes, document them, and adjust scope, schedule, and budget accordingly. C. Reject changes to avoid project disruption. D. Implement changes without adjusting budget or schedule. Answer. Correct answer. D. Approving all changes without evaluation risks scope creep and overruns. Rejecting all changes damages client relations. Implementing changes without adjusting budget or schedule leads to uncontrolled costs and delays. The correct process is to formally evaluate and document changes, then adjust scope, schedule, and budget to maintain control and transparency consistent with scope and cost management best practices. Question 18. Considering the evidence from project time management, Davis is analyzing her schedule's critical path and notices some activities have zero flow. What does this imply for project control? A. Those activities can be delayed without impacting the overall project. B. Those activities directly impact project completion and require close monitoring. C. Activities with zero float are not critical to project success. D. Float is irrelevant to managing HVACR projects. Answer. Correct answer. A. Activities with zero float have no leeway. Delays directly affect project completion. Hence, they must be closely managed. Saying such activities can be delayed without impact is incorrect. Dismissing float as irrelevant disregards a fundamental scheduling principle. Correctly identifying and managing critical path activities ensures timely delivery and resource allocation, a core element of effective time management. Question 19. While examining HVAC equipment vendor bids, Mr. Martinez notes wide price variation for similar specifications. What should guide his selection decision? A. Select the lowest bid to save cost. B. Evaluate vendor reliability, warranty, and service support along with price. C. Choose the highest bid assuming better quality. D. Reject all bids and rebid the project. Answer. Correct answer. B. Selecting bids based solely on lowest price risks poor quality or service. Highest bids don't guarantee quality. Rejecting all bids wastes time and may delay projects. The best practice is balanced evaluation considering vendor reputation, warranties, after-sales service, and cost to ensure long-term project success and value consistent with procurement management principles. Question 20. When faced with limited resources on a complex HVAC project is new and must prioritize tasks. What is the most effective method for task prioritization? A. Assign resources to tasks with longest durations first. B. Prioritize tasks on the critical path to prevent delays. C. Allocate resources randomly to maintain fairness. D. Focus on tasks that are easiest to complete quickly. Answer. Correct answer. B. Assigning resources to non-critical tasks risks delaying overall project completion. Random allocation neglects strategic scheduling. Prioritizing shortest or easiest tasks may not align with critical milestones. Effective resource management focuses on critical path activities to ensure timely project delivery, optimizing schedule adherence and minimizing risk of delays, following fundamental time and resource management principles. Question 21. Under the assumption that a project experiences unforeseen supply chain delays, what is the most effective strategy Mr. Wallace can implement to mitigate schedule risks? A. Increase project contingency time and communicate impacts to stakeholders. B. Expedite all remaining activities to recover lost time. C. Ignore the delays and proceed as originally scheduled. D. Cancel orders and seek new suppliers without assessing impact. Answer. Correct answer. B. Expediting all remaining activities without evaluating feasibility can cause resource strain and quality issues. Ignoring delays risks cascading schedule slippage. Cancelling orders abruptly may create additional risks. Increasing contingency and proactive communication provide realistic buffer and stakeholder alignment, which is essential to managing risks effectively and maintaining project transparency. Question 22. Considering the evidence in HVAC system design, Patel must select between a variable air volume VAV system and a constant air volume CAV system for a multi-zone commercial building. What key factors should guide her decision? A. Initial installation cost only. B. Flexibility in controlling individual zone temperatures and energy efficiency. C. Simplicity of design regardless of energy use. D. Vendor preference. Answer. Correct answer. C. While initial cost and vendor preference might influence choices, selecting a system based solely on design simplicity disregards critical performance and efficiency factors. VAV systems offer precise zone control and energy savings essential for multi-zone buildings. Best practice prioritizes system flexibility and energy efficiency to optimize occupant comfort and operational costs over mere simplicity or vendor bias. Question 23. Given the circumstances where ISTA Singh must manage project documentation and ensure all technical records are properly archived, what is the best approach? A. Delegate documentation to subcontractors without oversight. B. Use a centralized digital project management system with controlled access and audit trails. C. Maintain paper copies stored on site only. D. Ignore documentation until project closeout. Answer. Correct answer. B. Delegating without supervision risks incomplete records. Paper-only systems are vulnerable to loss and inefficiency. Delaying documentation leads to information gaps and audit issues. The centralized digital system ensures accuracy, accessibility, security, and compliance with project governance standards, facilitating smooth audits and knowledge transfer. Question 24. From a practical standpoint, when Mr. Lopez observes that the installed HVAC equipment does not match specifications, what immediate action should he take? A. Proceed with commissioning to save time. B. Halt work and document non-conformance for corrective action. C. Ignore minor deviations and continue. D. Adjust specifications to fit installed equipment. Answer. Correct answer. A. Proceeding despite non-compliance risks system failure, safety issues, and warranty voidance. Ignoring deviations compromises quality and regulatory adherence. Adjusting specs post-installation undermines project integrity. The correct procedure is to stop work, document deviations, and initiate corrective measures ensuring compliance with design and quality standards, fundamental to project quality control. Question 25. Throughout the course of HVACR project cost estimation, Green realizes some estimates are based on outdated material prices. What is the best practice to ensure accuracy? A. Use historical data only. B. Regularly update estimates using current market prices and supplier quotes. C. Estimate costs based on contractor intuition. D. Ignore price fluctuations for simplicity. Answer. Correct answer. C. Relying on intuition without data can lead to large inaccuracies. Historical data alone neglects current market dynamics. Ignoring price fluctuations risks budget overruns. The best approach involves continuously updating estimates with current prices and verified supplier quotes to improve budget accuracy and risk management, supporting effective financial control. Question 26. When evaluating HVAC system energy efficiency, ISTAKIM is presented with two systems with different coefficients of performance. COP. What does a higher COP indicate? A. Lower energy efficiency. B. Higher energy efficiency and better performance. C. Greater installation complexity. D. Higher maintenance costs. Answer. Correct answer. D. A higher COP means the system uses less energy for the same output, indicating better energy efficiency and performance. Installation complexity and maintenance costs are not directly indicated by COP values. Selecting equipment with a high COP aligns with sustainable design and operational cost reduction goals. Question 27. In managing project scope, is Ford encounters scope creep due to informal change requests? How should she effectively control this? A. Implement a formal change request process requiring impact analysis and approval. B. Accept all change requests to maintain client satisfaction. C. Reject all changes outright. D. Ignore change requests to avoid project delays. Answer. Correct answer. A. Accepting all changes without control leads to cost overruns and delays. Rejecting outright damages client relations. Ignoring requests causes confusion. A formal change management process ensures changes are evaluated for cost, schedule, and quality impacts, maintaining project integrity while accommodating necessary adjustments. Question 20. Given the relationship between airflow and duct design, HRConquer is sizing ducts for a new HVAC installation. What principle should guide is duct sizing? A. Oversized ducts to minimize noise. B. Undersized ducts to save material costs. C. Sized ducts to maintain desired airflow velocity within recommended limits for efficiency and noise control. D. Use standard duct sizes regardless of airflow requirements. Answer. Correct answer. B. Oversized ducts increase cost and can cause airflow inefficiencies. The undersizing risks high pressure drop and noise. Using standard sizes without analysis can compromise system performance. The correct approach balances airflow velocity within recommended limits to optimize energy use, noise, and cost, following established duct design principles. Question 29. From the perspective of risk management, Mr. Hernandez must respond to a sudden regulatory compliance audit during project execution. What should be his immediate response? A. Delay the audit until project completion. B. Provide full transparency documentation and cooperate with auditors. C. Avoid sharing sensitive information. D. Refuse the audit to maintain control. Answer. Correct answer. C. Delaying or refusing audits is typically not possible and can result in penalties. Avoiding information risks legal and reputational damage. The best practice is full cooperation and transparency, ensuring compliance, building trust with regulators, and mitigating potential enforcement actions, aligning with ethical and professional standards. Question 30. When faced with unexpected HVAC system failures during commissioning, Simmons must decide how to proceed. Which approach best aligns with professional project management? A. Document failures, halt commissioning, and initiate a root cause analysis before proceeding. B. Bypass failing components to meet schedule. C. Complete commissioning ignoring failures. D. Replace the entire system immediately without investigation. Answer. Correct answer. A. Bypassing or ignoring failures risks unsafe operation and client dissatisfaction. Immediate replacement without diagnosis may be unnecessarily costly. Proper documentation and root cause analysis identify issues, enabling targeted corrective actions, preserving project quality and safety consistent with commissioning best practices and quality assurance principles.